All right, it looks like we are live, guys. Thanks for your patience today. We've had a little couple different technical difficulties, but we are finally here. So it is
Whoop.
that time of the. I know, whoop whoop, right? So it is that time again. Oh shit, we got a I'm not responding message. Oh, it got back in. I'm thinking. Well, we'll just go with the punches. How about that? So, Mickey, how you been?
Doing
Oh
all right,
shit.
bud. Just
We
chilling.
got
Been
a I'm
playing
not
Power
responding
World
message.
and loving life. How
Oh,
about you,
it
buddy?
got back in. Um, Dealing with it one moment at a time. Um, Trying to mute my shrill voice from YouTube. All right, and let's see here. And it does not look like. All right, cool beans. So we're not missing anybody yet. But here we are. It's that time of the week again. It's time to just have a conversation, talk about today's fun topics and all that good jazz. And there is some things to talk about. We're also kind of just, like I said, there we go. I'm trying to resize everything to where I can see stuff on my screen because good old frickin' technology. There we go. Alrighty. So, Mickey, what you been playing? I know you were telling me a little bit in the pre-chat. Let's just start there. How about that?
Yep, been playing Power World with my wifey, so that's what we've been playing. That's what I've been playing for the last 3 to 4 days.
What made you go back
And
to
it's
Power World?
just wanted to play something a little more gentler and
Gentler.
just something more calming
Got
than
tired of
Call of Duty. So
I was gonna say got tired of the same old song and dance on Call of Duty.
it's just you hit that point where you'll be playing something, and I do this a lot, and then I just kind of want to tone it down. So, this has always been a game that her and I both liked and kind of tried to play together. So we started playing it together again, and that's what we've been playing for the last 3 to 4 days.
Right on. Well, I have a confession. I bought Age of Mythology Retold. I've only played the tutorial.
Nice.
I want to. I don't know why, but I watched a couple videos on it, and I was like, "What the hell? I'm gonna go all in." And I want to check out this RTS that just for whatever reason it looks really fun to me. So I'm gonna give that one a whirl. But
It
I
is.
have
That
also
game is amazing.
it looks good, and also I guess it's from obviously it's retold. It's rekindling and like I guess essentially remastering. I mean I don't even want to say remaster because like I think they said it's like from like 2002 or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a pretty old game. Yep.
So, um, definitely looking forward to my playthrough on that one. But
Yeah, I think you'll enjoy that.
the one game though that I have been putting a lot of time into, and I'm not going to give any spoilers to anybody. But the good news is, so I've been playing Star Wars Outlaws. It's playing on screen right now. There is no story beats that are going to be shown on screen. This is basically a 2 hour marathon of a video where I am just going around and essentially trying to appease the three gangs, the Pikes, the Huts, and the Crimson Dawn, and I'm trying to get in their good graces.
That's it.
I'm not playing any of the story beats, so that way nobody has to worry about anything like that if they care. But it's just to give you a look and feel of the game, like the environment, the cities, stuff like that. So this is going to lead us to our first topic, but I've been having a great time playing the game. In my opinion, it's full of life, especially when you get off the first world and you actually go to basically the first world is like the tutorial. There's even a lot of life there, but it really opens up when you get to the second world and you have access to your speeder and you're speeding around in a fairly large open area of the world. It's not like a huge like Starfield thing where you're just blowing around the planet and you have access to the entire planet. No, this is a good portion of the planet. There's a like couple towns there, some settlements, but what really makes this game stand out is it's full of life. And what I mean by full of life, excuse me, by the way, full of life is there's animal wildlife everywhere. You can actually stop and pet
Mm.
them when you're going around on your speeder. Apparently these animals are also like tanks. If you run into one of them, they won't move. Like you'll literally fall off your speeder. I think they did that deliberately so you just can't mow animals down. Um,
Right.
but I mean, there's people that walk the cities. There's like an actual breathing life culture to the cities, and you have the gangs that essentially are constantly battling. It's almost like Game of Thrones. They're constantly battling for attention. One thing that really made Star Wars Outlaws stand out for me is it felt like Assassin's Creed Syndicate. The different gangs that you basically have to deal with. You have to get on the good graces of this person and just learn how to play the game of chess with them. I've been having a lot of good fun with it. You are not going to run around with a lightsaber. This takes place right after Return of the Jedi. So, as far as I know, there is no Jedi in this game.
Mm.
But it's also, don't think like you're just going to go around and start shooting it. There is moments where you get into space battles. And even the space travel is really cool. You get to go from a landed spaceship, you get to take off into orbit, fly around in orbit, get into some space battles up in orbit. I have not even played the campaign far enough to where I get my nav computer where you can actually institute hyperdrive and be able to go to other planets. So basically, I'm still stuck on this planet because I don't have a hyperdrive. But you can still go up in orbit. There's like a lot of like busted up ships and debris up there that you can hide and have space battles in with some of the other gangs or even the Empire. And there's pirates everywhere. The pirates are like a free for all. Like the pirates, you can do whatever you want. They have no standing. They're like the rejects of the whole thing, and so you don't got to appease them. You get to battle them out. That's cool when like the gangs are like, "Hey, do you want to go help us raid a pirate stronghold?" And you get to have other members of the gang follow you there, and you get to have this big old full-blown takeover where you got to like steal the goods or whatever that they're after and just basically lay waste to the pirates. But that being said, now imagine when you take like on my screen right now, you just saw the word caught. Now imagine you're told by the Pikes to go steal something from the Crimson Dawn. Well, for starters, you don't want to be seen doing that. There's even moments where you got to go do stuff around the Empire, and you don't want to just run in guns blazing because it's the Empire. They have a ton of stormtroopers, and you get your ass whooped real quick.
True.
So that's where you get in the Assassin's Creed almost Splinter Cell style of the game, where you learn to hide. You actually watch enemies, their paths that they follow, and for those that are in your way, you get to silently take them down as no one is looking. It's not like Assassin's Creed where you can drag the body somewhere and hide it, at least right now. I don't know if that's a mechanic that unlocks later in the game, but as of right now, like you just leave them there and hope to God nobody finds them. Like if you drop somebody in front of a security camera, even the security cameras will pick up that there's a body there. Now that's where you get points where if you are seen and you decide to knock them out, it's better than shooting and killing them because now the gang knows that you'll shoot and kill them versus just knocking them out. So the game definitely has a lot of different play styles depending on the situation. There's moments you're going to be in there running a gunning. There's going to be other moments where you are sneaking around and it is very slow and methodical. And I know some people just didn't, there's just some people that want to pick up a lightsaber and feel like a badass.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, Faded Blaze? Yes, it has been a very crazy week. We're going to dive into that. And yes, James Thomas, yes, Concord died faster than Joel's daughter in The Last of Us. I would agree. I mean, like, yeah, we're going to get into that here shortly. Mickey probably has not heard the news yet. But yeah, Mickey, Concord is being shut down.
Already?
Yep.
Holy
I
crap.
love the reactionary. Like, this is slightly reactionary, guys. This is what I love doing with him, because it's almost like, yeah, I mean, like, I want to hear an action. We got to get a camera at his house one day for him to be like, what the fuck? But then we'd have to make sure Mickey's wearing pants.
I'm wearing pants tonight, so.
All right.
Uh,
But getting into Star Wars Outlaws, and this is where I'm gonna get, like, we're gonna start really going down the rabbit hole. Here we go. Hence the thumbnail. What the fuck is going on this week? All right, so we're gonna be talking about, obviously, Star Wars Outlaws for a quick sec, but it's gonna start with an article that came out of Forbes by Mr. Paul Tassi. So Ubisoft stock decline and Star Wars Outlaws reception. Ubisoft has experienced a notable decline in stock price, dropping 13.5% following the release of Star Wars Outlaws on August 30th. This drop is part of a broader 43% decline in Ubisoft stock over the year. We're going to start with sales performance. Despite positive critical reviews, Star Wars Outlaws has reportedly failed to meet Ubisoft's sales expectations. But let's also keep in mind, everybody, that the game is also available in Ubisoft Plus or whatever, where it's that service where you get it's almost like their version of Game Pass. So I think it's available in there. Initial projections anticipated 7.5 million units sold for the fiscal year, but this estimate has been revised downwards to 5.5. The game's production cost was reportedly 30% higher than Assassin's Creed Mirage, yet it's underperforming compared to that title. Star Wars Outlaws received a Metascore of 76, indicating generally favorable reviews. However, the score places it in the lower half of Ubisoft's franchise releases over the last decade. And therefore, it's kind of like, I really don't know what to say. What exactly, like, everybody's had a lot of things to say about Star Wars Outlaws. And there's more in here about, like, Ubisoft has other concerns about X Defiant. The player numbers, the PvP shooter has seen dramatic drop in player numbers from 1 million unique players in its first week to just 20,000 concurrent players. And then it's kind of like they're wondering what, Ubisoft's future could potentially look like in this whole situation. I don't know, Mickey, you see, like, I had somebody actually kind of like that I work with. You probably know him. I've introduced him to you when you came by. He's the guy that helped me do my computer. He
okay.
he tried to have a conversation with me about it. And one of the things he brought up was, for starters, it was like he pointed out, like, in Assassin's Creed game that's 14 years old, you can swim, but in Outlaws, you can't swim. Like, if you fall in the water, you actually die.
Yeah.
And that's where I kind of wanted to just put out there, for starters, Outlaws is doing a lot of different stuff. You get to fly around on a speeder. There's wind blowing, there's dust blowing. There's a lot more going on in the game when it comes to computing, the grass moving, the trees moving, the animals, the NPCs. There's a lot more going on in this game, in my opinion, than I've seen in in a lot of Assassin's Creed games. And that's where I'm just I kind of was like, you know what? I'm glad they sacrificed swimming, because, swimming was a mechanic that you only did it if you have to. You weren't hopping in Assassin's Creed Odyssey to go to the beach and start doing a backstroke. You weren't looking forward to it. You would be there was moments where you're just like, fuck, I got to sail somewhere. But at least that's where I feel like, for starters, I'm just happy to see somebody else is doing a Star Wars game other than EA. But then there's also that whole thing of everybody wants to, I'm just going to boldly say it because I'm tired of just trying to be PC. There's a lot of people that try to basically, they're over here trying to say woke this, woke that. What is it? The Ubisoft is trying to force feed you stuff that you don't want anything to do with. And that's where I'm like, okay, cool. You have nothing to, you don't have to you don't have to be fed this. I mean, sorry that they're not making you the Star Wars game of your dreams. But it's a decent Star Wars game. I'm having fun playing it. But that being said, you know, just because you have a female character and it's not your typical style Star Wars game, and that it's not over here being uberly masculinely aggressive, and there might even be some political stuff in there that I just don't really, it doesn't affect me. But that's where I'm just trying to say, like, we're over here asking a French developer to essentially, they live life by a different beat over there in France, if you really think about it. And that's where I'm just kind of like, I feel like this game is getting judged too harshly, because of the fact that it's not pick up a lightsaber, go run around and just destroy shit with a lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
You're not like a Billy Badass freaking stormtrooper like in Republic Commando, and you're just mowing people down. But from the little bit of the main campaign that I have played, I can see a very good fledgling story. I actually am enjoying the mechanics that they've put into the game. And that's where, I don't know, man. I just feel like this game is really getting like an unfair like j- fog
Like unfair
shadowed
shake.
an unfair
Yeah.
shake, just because, like, I mean, like, dude, like, I'm just gonna blat out say it, sometimes, but get the fuck over it. Times are changing. I'm not over
Mm-hmm.
here like trying to, change anybody's political ideology and all this other stuff. But I mean, there is stuff going on in this world where things change, things become like, people want to just make certain subjects more aware. Don't get me wrong, sometimes they go way overboard and they just do things, they go way too far. But I just feel like as long as it is something that you can do subtly and just kind of like, not like lose the core concept of what you're trying to do. um I mean, dude, I just really feel people should really come check this game out, because I've even noticed like it's pushing fairly decent reviews on the Xbox Store. Like, we saw, it was like a 76 on Metacritic. Once a fucking upon a
Mm-hmm.
time, a 76 on Metacritic was just fine. So I'm just kind of like, I don't know what to say about all this. I feel like I'm just rambling. Tell me, Mickey.
Well, again, this is one of those things where people are just gonna find something to bitch about,
Oh yeah, for
and
sure.
and I think you're correct. Like, I think a lot of the see, you're more of a intellectual um, individual, and this isn't a knock on anybody else, but you know, the, like you said, that they more want to wield the lightsaber and be a Jedi or a Sith, instead of just being a character that is part of the Star Wars world, but it's not like a main character of the Star Wars world, and people just they're just gonna bitch about stuff, whether it's a girl or whether it's whatever the case may be. It's just crazy. Just let the game be the game. Play it. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, then you then don't play it. I mean, I just don't understand. It's not a difficult concept. It's actually fairly simple, and I want to play it too. I want to get my hands on it. And it's another thing too is it's a Star Wars game. It's not an Assassin's Creed game, so let it be a Star Wars game. The comparisons. There's always got to be comparisons to everything,
I
and
made
it.
the Assassin's Creed comparisons just to kind of give feel. I'm not like, I hate doing
Well,
that, but yeah.
you're not, but you're. Yeah, I understand how you're doing the comparisons, but games get compared all the time. Well, this game is kind of like this one. Oh, but it's not like this one if it's the same developer or whatever. But it's just like, just allow the game to play out and be what it's made to be. It's the problem is there's too many opinions, too many whiny bitches out there that just want to complain about everything instead of playing the game or not playing the game.
So
And that's the journalist issues and stuff like that. So you know that shit drives me crazy.
so just to put it this way, I have put more time in this game and just going around and just doing random shit
Mm-hmm.
than putting the story campaign of Battlefront 2 and Star Wars Squadrons together. Like, I feel like EA learned how to do Star Wars stories after it was too late. Like with Star Wars, Jedi
Mm-hmm.
Survivor and Fallen Order.
Yeah.
Like that was really good. But I mean, like, yeah, that is a good solid basis for a lightsaber wielding individual. But this is like, that's what I mean. Like, could you imagine, hey, you're a game developer and somebody's like, you get to work on Star Wars, obviously your go-to would be Jedi lightsaber. It's what everybody's come accustomed to.
Correct. Right.
But
Right.
look at how successful the Mandalorian has been, and he didn't have a
Mm-hmm.
lightsaber except for like not even a real lightsaber. Like they had something referred to as the dark saber. Sorry if you guys don't understand that, but if watch the show, you'd understand it. But he's not wielding the thing like he's like fucking Master Yoda over here. Trust me, dude. At any
Right.
rate, but like I liked the approach that they're like, no, 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 no. Let's do like a Han Solo based character, a smuggler,
Mm-hmm.
a thief.
Yeah.
Like, dude,
Yep.
you'll see me here in this gameplay. Like, I'm actually saying right now, I'm actually enjoying playing Sabacc. I actually wish that I could go to a casino right now and actually play real life fucking Sabacc, which is like if you watched like Star Wars Solo, how they played Sabacc for the Millennium Falcon.
Mm-hmm.
I like, dude, like Sabacc, I'm having a lot of fun playing it. It's really interesting to play. It's very easy to understand. And I mean, like the Sabacc, like, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in here that I was just like, wow, this is actually a relatively enjoyable game because I mean, dude, like I play a lot of Elder Scrolls Online and they have a card game in there called Tales of Tribute. That shit was just way so convoluted that I was just like, yeah, I ain't playing this. And like, I mean, so not really do I actually sit there and down and be like, oh, there's like like even in Flintlock, you could play like a game with certain characters throughout Flintlock. And normally I don't
Mm-hmm.
get into those little time wasters, but with Sabacc, I was actually quite surprised. I was like, wow, I could sit here and get used to playing like 4 or 5 rounds of Sabacc and actually have a good time playing. Cause I mean, it was relaxing, but it's very easy to pick up. And I thought it was fun, but I mean, so for those that haven't checked it out, I mean, go on Ubisoft Plus, check out the game. Mickey still has yet to pick it up with me. He tricked me. I was gonna be like, I thought we were day oneers, but I'm
I'm
like,
gonna
no,
pick it up.
no, you're over here with your freaking
Hey, I had to spend
throne and liberty.
$700 on my car.
Oh shit, dude, horse and carriage it. We live in fucking Arizona. You got Mickey going down the 17 on a.
Oh god, I look like an Amish.
Look, you got the beard. We just had to get in the hat.
Oh, that's funny.
But all right, that was just, I guess, my quick rant. But
Yeah, that's funny.
we're gonna go on to Faded Blazes. Oh man, there I go. My screen goes, dude. If you guys knew, we're gonna start closing tabs out as we chat because I've got oh, and it locked up. There we go. I just try to keep everything. See, Dwan, hey buddy, how are you doing today? What happened to you? I miss your videos. Okay, I don't air out my grievances, but because somebody asked, I want to get back into making videos. I really do. But like, so here it is in a nutshell. Where I currently work, even though I enjoy my job and what I do, I have essentially no I have no retirement and stuff like that. So I decided to go and start my own business. And I've been doing like what I do for YouTube for small businesses, creating content for them and actually doing like web page design and stuff like that. It's going well, but between my real job and that job, that takes up a lot of time. And then on top of that, I was throwing a really fun curveball, went and got a blood test, and they didn't like a few things that they found. And so I have now been basically 3 days a week. I end up in the gym and doing a whole bunch of lifestyle changes. Had to get signed up with essentially a medical practice that helps deal with lifestyle changes, where they gave me like a whole list of like how to eat this and how to eat that. No, I'm not like out of control, overly weight, but they want to definitely show me how to live a lifestyle that is doesn't involve me ending up on an insulin plan. So there's that fun little nutshell. So I've kind of like I've had to like concentrate on some other things just because I mean, YouTube is fun and all, and I enjoy seeing every single one of you guys every single Wednesday, and I really want to get back into making videos, but definitely at least had to focus on that's what I mean, guys. Definitely focus on your health. Always take care of your health. Don't try to like sideline it because it will bite you in the ass. And that's where I've just been
That it will.
yeah, and that's where I'm not trying to like don't feel sorry for me. This doesn't mean like I mean you asked and I'm just being 100% honest that I do want to make videos because every time I see an article, I'm just like, "Oh, I want to do a video on this." And then I'm just like, but I've got that guy that really wants me to finish his website and he's a paying customer and I can't exactly say, "Well, fuck it," you know. But I guess that's the fun part. I get to discuss it all with Mickey right here, which is part of like, you know, Mickey has basically helped me for like 2 hours out of every week, just essentially, you know, discuss the big hot topics. We'll just say that. And that's where we're going to get into the next hot topic. So I'm pretty sure by now people have been seeing stuff pop up. And by the way, what's up, Dark Child? Glad to see you here. And also thank you, Dwayne Davis. I'm glad to see you dropped in too. And so let's get into, you know, the whole statement, the thumbnail, because I mean, this is kind of going to be like a little bit of a fun ride. I'd help. Would help. Help what? Help me get keep up with all the info and stuff on YouTube. I mean, excuse me, the gaming community, the gaming industry, all the craziness. So, we're gonna start with another Paul Tassi one. Through obviously Forbes. This was yesterday. Statement was, "What is Xbox doing?" I sent this one to Mickey. Me and Mickey haven't had a chance to discuss this one, but we're really gonna dive into like two big things that seem to be circling this whole article right here. So, poor communication and support for third-party developers, especially indie studios. The developer of Entoria, The Last Song, cited indefinite delays due to Microsoft's lack of responsiveness despite significant investment in the Xbox port. And then they go on to discussing Xbox Series S development struggles are increasingly highlighted by studios, including those behind Dune Awakening. And they cite the console as difficult to optimize for due to its lower capabilities compared to the Series X. Getting into that part of the article, we'll get back into the Entoria thing because I have another article to go with that. One thing I've always noticed about, though, is developers that bitch about the Series S would rather have it the easy way out and they only have to develop for the Series X. The Series S makes them work harder. And I always go back to Larian Studios when Larian Studios had the same damn freaking canned excuse that they have to work harder. And the funny part is, remember that, Mickey? After they finally did it, they were like, "Oh, wow, we learned so much about optimization that basically we can now improve the performance on the game on the PS5 and the Series X."
Mm-hmm.
You made a better game because you had to work harder. Fact of life right there. Moving on.
Bada boom.
Failure to secure deals for major titles. Tassie pointed out to the delay of Black Myth Wukong on Xbox due to alleged Sony involvement. This is seen as another example of Xbox either being outbid by Sony or developers avoiding Xbox's smaller market share. I would like to, I think it's interesting when we say Xbox's smaller market share. Are we talking globally or are we talking in North America? Or basically United States, Canada, and Mexico? Because the hilarious part is when you actually compare that little, small region, Sony and Xbox actually seem to be pretty neck and neck. It's when you go over into Europe and Japan and Asia, you start seeing a much more different side of the spectrum where people are definitely buying PlayStations more often than they are Xboxes. But again, I wouldn't call, I think it's funny that I just want to say, with all due respect to Paul Tassi in this statement, though, I'm pretty sure Paul Tassi would love to have the amount of market share that Xbox does for himself in the articles he writes. Because we got to think about how many people, millions and millions of people actually do consume the Xbox ecosystem. And I would really like to hold that in comparison to Forbes. And that's where I'm just I just think it's interesting that we're calling it small, but those are my own personal opinions.
That's kind of interesting considering, I'd like to think it's got a fairly large outreach.
I would be happy as fuck if I had 50 million people that gave a shit about my product.
Yeah, no kidding. No freaking kidding.
Here we go. Confusion over exclusivity. Xbox's focus on multi-platform releases is causing uncertainty among its player base. Games like Indiana Jones and the Great Circle are being released with time delays on Xbox or are going to PlayStation directly, leading to frustrations among loyal Xbox fans about future exclusives. Hey, Mickey, I'm a loyal Xbox fan, and I know you are too. Do you give a fuck about who plays your game?
I give no shits.
I mean,
zero.
I mean, dude, all cars have seats, all cars have motors. It's generally about they all take the same damn gas. They all have stereos and stuff like that. It's about the minor details than the bigger details. And we could have a whole 2-hour discussion over why I prefer Xbox over PlayStation, even though I own them both. But the reason why I choose to, as my primary gaming console is the Xbox, I could cite numerous reasons and not bring games into the equation one time.
Right.
So, cloud gaming and Game Pass ceiling. Despite Xbox's efforts to push its cloud-based Game Pass service as a growth driver, Tassi argued that the service has not expanded meaningfully and seems to be reaching its subscription limits. This is compounded by Xbox's increasingly downplayed need for hardware as they promote playing Xbox games anywhere on PC, cloud, and even PlayStation, and lagging behind hardware competition. While PlayStation is set to release the PS5 Pro, Xbox has no comparable hardware announcement, further raising concerns about Xbox's focus on console hardware. Hey, guess what, Tassie? I am not going to go down the road of the PS5 Pro because they have not announced it yet. We have not gotten specs. We have not gotten anything but myths, conjectures, and rumors all over social media. And honestly, I just really feel that, no, we can't go down that road. We're not going to go down the road of the PS5 Pro because, Mickey, I saw one of the guys I keep up with on YouTube when I'm in the gym. And there's people that are trying to say that the PS5 Pro will do better than a 4080. I know you're not into PC hardware very much, and neither am I. But Mickey, some of the outlandish stuff that people are trying to say about the PS5 Pro. You guys better hope to God you get half of what's rumored in the PS5 Pro, because I'm going to say right now, I owned a PS4 and I played Horizon Zero Dawn. Then I went and got the PS4 Pro, plugged in Horizon Zero Dawn, and like, I mean, you really had to know what you were looking for to see the differences. It was not in your face, night and day different. It wasn't.
Oh, okay.
Like, I'm just saying, like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. But
Hmm.
you know, what do you think so far, Mickey, on that whole thing? Because then we're gonna get into that the delay for Intoria or Inotria, however you pronounce it. Notria. I'm pretty sure the E is silent. So no Notria. Okay, whatever.
Well, are you what do you specifically
I mean, is there anything that
asking?
leaps out to you on the discussion?
No, not really. I mean, you're more again. This is one of those things where you're more in tune with that, and I mean, uh, I don't even really. I mean, I don't really know what I can add to it because I don't know. To be
Uh,
honest with you, I don't know. I mean,
well,
I don't have anything to add. So
so Dark Child with us Xbox users getting day and date, and for the most part, PlayStation has to wait a bit. I'm fine with it. By the way, everybody, don't forget that even though it is going to PlayStation, we're still getting that shit for $20 a month on the high end. And that's if you're a Game Pass subscriber, and that's where over there they ain't gonna get it like that. They're gonna have to pay full price for that game or wait for a sale, whatever. And all that revenue is just coming back to us and funding our fun over here on Xbox. So there's that. And that's where, yeah, I mean, there's there's a lot of perks over here on the Xbox side. Like, yeah, cool, you get to play my game, but I got to play it cheaper than you, but I guess, you know, I guess PlayStation's for ballers. I don't know. But Darkchild also wrote about the PS5 Pro that it's ludicrous, and he's got a 4060. No, yeah, dude. I mean, you should hear some of the stuff that they're trying to say. And Adidas 20, what's up? Sent RIP Sony live service. I know we're gonna get into that. I mean, this goes into that. And so yeah, like now let's get like, and then Google Poe wrote Inotrashia. You know, I don't know too much about the game. That's why I'm kind of like, I'm not going to lose sleep over like what's going on. The only thing I'm just saying that if by some chance at least what they're saying is correct, I would like it if maybe Xbox came out and was just like, no, the developer, like, you like getting into it, the developer is even try like, so like he made, the developer came out of Notria, and so here's what it is. The article is titled "They Don't Care About You. Dev delays upcoming Souls-like Notria indefinitely as it claims Xbox has ignored its emails for 2 months." The developer of Notria, The Last Song, like Yama Games has indefinitely delayed the Xbox release of their Italian-inspired RPG due to lack of communication from Microsoft. The studio claims it has not received a response from Xbox for over 2 months regarding the submission and release process for the game on Xbox Series X and S, despite the game being fully ready for launch. The key points were that the developers said that it was originally slated for release on September 19th, 2024, across PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S. While the game is still set to release on PC and PlayStation as scheduled, the Xbox version has been postponed indefinitely. In a blog, Yama Games expressed disappointment in the delay, but emphasized that the decision was not made lightly. They mentioned challenges with the Xbox port, but provided no specific details. On Discord, Yama Games CEO Jackie Greco revealed that the Xbox build is complete and ready for submission. However, Microsoft's failure to respond to emails about opening a store page and moving forward with submission has stalled the release. The developer refuted rumors that Sony paid for exclusivity to prevent the game from launching on Xbox. Instead, the issue lies solely with Microsoft's delayed response, while Sony simply helped the developer prepare the game for PlayStation. And Yama Games clarified that there are no performance issues with the Xbox version of the game, stating that the game runs well on both Series S and Series X consoles. And the reason why they felt necessary to bring that up about the performance issues was because obviously there's a process that Xbox has where they call certification, where they go and Mickey, what Xbox does is they have a certification process to make sure that the game functions well and doesn't do any crazy stuff to the console. Because in the past with different games that happened on both the PlayStation and the Xbox, where a game was not optimized right or had some weirdness, and it actually caused the consoles to like break, fry the power supplies. I mean, like the mind-boggling nature that a piece of software could even blow up your power supply is crazy. But hey, you know, I guess when you don't optimize something correctly, but getting into it, Google Po, it's Inotria. It actually looks okay, but it's another Souls-like where there are many good ones too. I'm getting tired of all the disrespect and unprofessionalism with Xbox. These dudes are lucky Microsoft is in a position to want to help people or towards Xbox. Every week there's another dev or publisher crying or threatening a release on Xbox. And yeah, Dark Child, I do agree. They will reap what they sow, because like right now, I feel like Xbox is in this period of time where they're just really trying to put their ecosystem in anybody's hands. They're trying to denounce the myth that Xbox has no games. They're basically going around letting people eat from the buffet. And I'm waiting for that inevitable time when all of a sudden they kind of like make the buffet a little bit less easy to access unless you're willing to go where they want you to, which is obviously back to their ecosystem.
Okay, well let me be the devil's advocate here.
Sure.
Even with all of that being the case, Microsoft should at least be responding with something, you know, to let them know. I mean, even if they were like, hey, you know, we're not going to do it right this minute, you know, just give us some time and we'll work on it, you know, instead of just there being crickets.
No.
I mean, you know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I actually agree with the devil advocacy here, because I mean, we all know what it's like to be like, that moment in like, you know, customer, we all deal with it with like DoorDash, orders online, and just numerous instances where you try to reach out to a customer service representative. And a lot of times these companies don't even let you call them now. You got to like submit a request to get a phone call from them. You got to basically ask permission to talk to somebody. And it does suck when you're basically left out in the cold on a customer service level.
Right.
But that's where I'm very curious on, is this something that is happening that can be easily corrected? Or is this something where we don't have the full details? And that's where with Google Po and Darkchild saying they would reap what they sow, because it's coming down to, like, Larian came out with the same day. Oh, we're having problems with the Series S, and Xbox went and helped them. Like, we've seen numerous instances where Microsoft is willing to send Xbox employees to help get a game onto the platform. I've never been given the impression that, you know, Xbox just runs around with this "we don't give an F" attitude, and like they don't care, you know, like, oh, it's okay, you can go play it on PlayStation, screw it.
I mean,
Um,
it is fair to say that we don't know all the details and stuff, so that's a fair assessment. Um, and journalistic shit, they're not gonna tell you're not gonna get all the details. So I mean, there could be some underlying information that we don't know, but just from what I'm seeing, it's like um, I'm just basing my opinion on what I read.
right.
That Microsoft, maybe should have just at least responded or something. You know what I mean?
Right. We only have one half of the conversation.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Um, Darkchild, Microsoft will remember those who dissed them and Google Po. No matter the problem, you don't go crying on Twitter. That's what these pony devs do. I would definitely say that on a professional setting, there is a little bit of decorum, and I've had to get a little bit stern. Like in my professional life, working for the company that I do, I literally like we had these representatives come by and they were trying to get us to want to sell their product, and they came in with these ideas of, oh, we'll teach your employees how to sell our product, and then like that, basically, we'll tell you guys how to do your job right. And then all of a sudden these guys put down documents in front of me that literally look like a pyramid scheme on top of like used car salesman tactics. And
Mm-hmm.
that I had to like point blank look at the guy and be like, dude, these are used car salesman tactics. This is shady. And he's like, how is this shady? And I'm like, you're telling me to create an invoice for your product where we charge the customer for your product, and we somehow finagle it into the invoice and we don't tell the customer about it unless they notice it. Do you not see how shisty that is? Like, I had to get into an actual stern argument with the guy and be like, yo, dude, that's not like good business practice. And
Yeah, those are good business practices.
if you're wanting to act like that, man, holy cow, no wonder you're desperate to sell your product, because apparently you're doing some shisty shit. So, but this goes like, I guess a lot of people are also trying to bring into like the whole conversation, because it started with this developer for this Notria game, and then they tried to like spin it more into another one, Paul Tassi. Like, as we could see, Paul Tassi over here, freaking part of the Sony freaking brigade, whatever. But again, I mean, at least it's Forbes and it's relatively decent journalism. So
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft confirms Black Myth Wukong delay not due to platform limitations. Comments on exclusivity. Microsoft's statement confirms that the delay of Black Myth Wukong on Xbox is not caused by platform limitations related to the Xbox Series X or Series S. Instead, it points to external deals involving other platforms. Rumors about PlayStation involvement, industry insiders have speculated that Sony may have provided cash and resources to Game Science, the developer of the game, contributing to a timed exclusivity period on PlayStation. However, Microsoft did not directly confirm any specifics regarding this deal. No traditional exclusivity deal. Unlike a standard exclusivity agreement, this situation is complicated and it may involve paid technical support from Sony without the typical money hat exclusivity arrangement that prevents release on rival platforms. As a result, it remains unclear whether this is a temporary or permanent exclusivity deal. Game Science has previously stated that the game delay was related to optimization for Xbox hardware, creating further confusion about the real reason for the delay. Microsoft and Game Science have not provided clarity on the situation, and there is no confirmed date at this time for Black Myth Wukong when it will arrive on Xbox, despite the game reportedly selling 10 million copies on other platforms. So the game is doing quite well on PC and PlayStation 5.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are trying to like go down that whole that whole thing of, like Xbox is really missing out on a lot of good deals. Um, are they not negotiating right? Um, it's kind of like everybody is just wanting to, like, I know Xbox is owned by $1 trillion company, but we can see that from, if we look at what PlayStation has done, Sony has done, they have created a situation where some of their financial decisions when it comes to money having games has not really benefited them in the least. Where they have had a huge output of money, for, I'm just curious on what that's really get, because I mean, even Square Enix has bitched a little bit about how their games aren't performing as well as they could because of that. Like, is Sony really financially covering that loss? Or, like, I mean, we could go all day on exactly what, like, is Sony spending too much money on exclusivity? And now here they are having some struggles with first party output and even trying to establish even multiplayer games as a service style games. I mean, what's your all two cents on this, Mickey?
Well, as far as that goes, my problem is with Sony is they want, it seems like they want everything and they don't want to share, whereas Microsoft is obviously they're willing to share, uh, and that's with anything. I mean, even with Call of Duty, they've even offered to you know to share with Sony so that Sony people can still, PlayStation players can still play Call of Duty and stuff. And then they've also extended their hand on games, Sea of Thieves and a few other games that they have. But Sony's just fucking selfish. It's like, you know,
Well,
it just it kind of, I don't know. It just that's kind of like my issue that I've seen, or that I've heard, or that it seems to be going around is, it's I don't know.
for being the number one gaming console in the world, they've raised their prices quicker and more often. They have found more ways to monetize and nickel and dime their consumer base, turning their consumer base into uh essentially, walking, talking ATMs.
Hmm.
I just really have noticed that for being in the number one spot, they are the least who want to create value, and instead of creating value, they create more reasons for you to pay more or
Hmm.
pay more for less. And that's just from a professional standpoint at looking at, whoop, like, I'm just saying, whoop, like, just because a game looks good and, it plays well, has a good story, still doesn't mean that they need to, look, like, I just really feel that they don't create value. Microsoft has really created a lot of value. Microsoft, as expensive gaming has got, Microsoft definitely has found ways to make me be able to play other games. Like, I got to play Flintlock on Game Pass. I could have waited for Age of Mythology to come out on Game Pass, as a matter of fact, tomorrow. But
Hmm.
you know what? I decided to go for the full package. I actually bought the game. That was my own damn decision. But we're going to
Hmm.
get Call of Duty in October. We're going to get Stalker in November. We're going to get
Hmm.
Indiana Jones in December. We're getting Avowed in February. It is my
Hmm.
own personal damn choice to either use my Game Pass subscription for $20 a month or buy that damn game.
Right.
So, I mean, like, I feel like Xbox has done a good job of making me feel like, I'm respected as a consumer. Where, I feel like, at least with PlayStation, they have walked in and they've just got this like Rico Suave attitude, like, "Hey, we're PlayStation. You got to pay for it."
A little bit of arrogance to
Yeah,
me.
arrogant. Yeah, arrogance.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like we could see what's going on, and like, and I'm not going to limit this just to Xbox. There is a lot of problems in the gaming industry as a whole. And I found a really interesting article that was done by Polygon. As a matter of fact, it was released yesterday as well. And that's where so it's an opinion piece, and it's titled Two Ways to Save a Video Game Industry on Fire. Video games have never been easier to make. That's the challenge. So, giving you the real quick points, Mickey, and I really want to discuss this with you, especially with you not being as ingrained as I am, but you still get to see a little bit of what goes on. So, the AAA industry is stuck on a loop. The competitive pressure on AAA publishers has led to massive budget increases for both development and marketing, forcing games to be more ambitious. Even successful games like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth are deemed failures if they don't become top sellers, creating a cycle of unsustainable expectations. Publishers now compete with indie titles for the same space on digital platforms. On digital platforms, but with far greater financial risk. This article basically, once upon a time, big AAA game studios and publishers had enough money and weight to swing around in the gaming industry, which made it easier to get their games on retail shelves. And it made it really hard for indie devs to branch out. And a lot of indie devs were just basically stuck in the PC market. Well, ever since games have been moving to a more digital platform, now these big AAA studios and publishers now have to share the same space on Steam, the Xbox store, what have you, the PlayStation store, and their games are right next to the indie person's game, so they just can't throw their weight around as easily as it was back in the day, where they could literally dominate all the shelves at Walmart or Target. So that leads to indie game struggles. While indie developers benefited from the past low interest while indie developers benefited from past low interest rates and enthusiastic investment in projects, including risky ventures like NFTs, the current economic landscape has left many struggling. Indie creators like AAA publishers face the same issue of standing out in a crowded market, but without the safety net of large budgets or investor backing. And that's where they kind of get into the proposed solutions on some of this stuff. So they say funding and expertise for indies. Initiatives like the Inner Sloth Fund, which seeks to invest in indie projects with a recoup and share model, are a good first step. The author stresses the need for business training for indie developers, arguing that simply having a good idea isn't enough in today's market. Schools should teach game creators business fundamentals to ensure their long-term success. And when it comes, the other solution is also to start scaling down AAA productions. The author of the article suggests that AAA publishers must lower their expectations and start producing smaller, more diverse games rather than constantly chasing the top spot. Instead of relying on massive, high-risk projects, they should explore new IPs and cater to underserved audiences. This diversifying could make the industry more sustainable and resilient to market challenges. And the author wanted to close out emphasizing that the video game industry is at a breaking point, and that change is necessary. Without adapting and planning differently, the industry may face even more severe challenges in the near future. Mickey, what's your take?
Oh, that's a lot of information.
I know, right?
I mean, I guess, some of it is feasible, like, learning the business side a little bit better. I could understand that, but I mean, working on like smaller games and stuff like that. I mean, it's kind of up to the developer. I mean, um, it may work, may not. I mean, I don't know. I mean, with the smaller developers, I personally think they should just, it seems like a lot of them are kind of being bought out too, and by the bigger, that we've seen, by the bigger companies such as like Microsoft and Sony or whatever. Um, so I mean, I don't know, man. I don't even know. I don't even know how to step around this take because I don't know enough, you know, to really put together like a solid opinion because I'd have to be speaking for them, and you know,
Well,
I
I
don't
guess
know much.
speak at it from like at least for me, and we'll get like here. At least if I give you mine, maybe I can get it to her. So like everybody wants that Fortnite money, where like, hey, we had a game mode that made us millions and millions of dollars.
Hmm.
And everybody wants that safe, sure bet. Like, I'm just saying, like, right now, when you start a business, there's nothing that's like, hey, if you follow this plan and you do A, B, and C, and you open this kind of a business and you do this and you do that, you are guaranteed success. That's insane to me to think that you like I need guaranteed success.
I mean, I'm sure they all want
Like
some type of guaranteed success,
I
but
yeah, I mean, but
games
yeah,
are games are hit and miss,
games as a
especially
service and
the
shit like that.
especially the smaller games. I mean,
Right.
some games are going to be hit. They're going to do really well. Some games they're not going to get their footing. So
Like look
it's
at Power World. That game was a hit,
right.
and it actually did well, and it wasn't a miss. Like so, an indie dev was able to knock it out of the park with a hit called um, Power World, and a Sony backed games as a service style multiplayer shooter was a miss, which we'll get here to shortly. But do you see what I mean? Like, it's PlayStation is still doing just fine. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that burnt the bank account a little bit. That like, oh shit, we just wasted X amount of dollars on a video game. But they're not gonna feel it like an indie dev that gets a miss.
Correct. Right, because they've got a ton of money and the backing and the these little. If I said AAA, I didn't mean that
No,
in
I get it.
regards to the
Well,
smaller companies, but
but
those indie companies, they don't have that money unless they are part of that company, unless that company is bottom out or whatever. But even then, it's like let's say they put a game together and it doesn't really catch any footing. I mean, then they have to look at the company and be like, okay, well, here's why the game not do well, and they have to answer those questions. So
right. And now, but that's where, like, let's look at this objectively. Now, imagine you're an indie dev trying to get funding for your game, and you come in with this, like this just simple, play it safe. I've got a great game idea concept, and you're trying to convince a group of investors that are like, no, 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 no. I want like Fortnite. I want to be like, I want to give you $20 and you like bring me back 200. What?
mhm.
Like, I mean, like, it's like, like, yeah, they are like, it's like, big blockbuster or go home. And it puts a lot of indie devs in a situation where now you have less companies, like, less investors, less publishers that want to give them money or the time of day to have their product, come to fruition. And you got to be like, the developer of Cuphead, where you financed your damn house in the hope of God that, you know, this game is going to do well. And for that developer for Cuphead, he scored.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what? Like, good job,
I've
bravo.
heard about that game. Yeah, I've heard about that game.
Like, bravo. But I mean, like, I don't know what I would do right now if I like told I'm like, no, I'm gonna finance I'm gonna like put a mortgage on my house and hope for the best.
Mm-hmm,
What?
right.
I mean, dude, you know, how is it that the man, sorry, I don't even want to say the man, but the individuals without a pot to piss in and not a massive bank account are willing to take bigger freaking risks than these companies that literally have millions and millions of dollars just slated. Like, it's like, oh damn, we just made a shit game. Well, all right, let's go try again. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a dog eat dog world out there. So
right, and that's where that's where I just feel like a lot of the stuff that we've been getting lately is like I forget where I read it, but somebody referred to it as grave dancing. We're all dancing on the grave of, you know, game companies that game developers that went out of business because we felt that their game did not line up with your political ideology, or for whatever pathetic reason that you didn't like that game or the developer, and you're over here dancing around like the Wicked Witch is dead in the beginning of Wizard of Oz. And like, that's where it's pretty bad. Like that's pretty damn toxic and actually not, I mean, that's really not a great way to look at it, because I wouldn't want to, like, anybody here that hears this podcast talks to me on social media. I will never, even for people I don't like, I will never be like, oh, great, that dude's dog died. Yes, that asshole deserved it. You know, dude, like, it's just like, oh, man, that dude isn't my kind of person. We don't hang out. We don't kick it. But I don't wish ill will on him. My heart and prayers and all that good stuff go out to him, because I know what it's like to love an animal and have that happen. And, you know, freaking, I might even shoot the guy a DM and be like, dude, sorry to hear about what happened to your dog. Not at any time would I freaking be like, you got what you deserved. Like, it's like that whole idea of like dancing on the grave. Like what we got with Redfall. Everybody was willing to just trash Arcane Austin. Trash them. Arcane Austin sucks. Blah, blah, blah. Studios Why'd they close the studio? Because you guys trash shit out of them.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, no kidding.
Like Tango Gameworks got a lot of great reception. I know some people might say it's confusing. I still have my theory that I think that that Hi-Fi Rush was Tango Gameworks' last game, and it was probably going to be that way, which is why a lot of the top developers left and they took the better employees with them. And by the time Hi-Fi Rush came out, there was not much left of Tango Gameworks. I still have my theory that I think there were some individuals that knew that Tango Gameworks was going to be shuttered after Hi-Fi Rush. But it also didn't help that, you know, like, you still had game journalists. Well, Hi-Fi Rush was a good game, but because we don't like Microsoft and what they've done, we're gonna knock it a point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like telling somebody, "Oh no, you're cool."
The mess.
Like, you're cool, but because you work for Burger King, I'm actually gonna like knock you down. You're not that cool. Really? So, but that's where, like, you could see like this safe bet concept, where, you know, these studios are wanting to do smaller games that have less risk, but the big publishers and the big investors don't want that. They want instant guaranteed success with a huge venture, when, like, come on, there's no way of guaranteeing that. Nobody's got that good of a crystal ball. And
That's
regretfully,
true.
this whole like this whole situation in the gaming industry, which is unfolding before us, on we want big games with big budgets, with big rewards, and top marks guaranteed. And that whole line of thinking actually just got another developer closed. Mickey brought this one to my attention. It brought a tear to my eye. I like, my phone went off. He sent me an article. I was like, oh my God, he's growing up so fast. He's sending me articles. So, Mickey sent me a GameSpot article. And like this, we're going to talk about a closure of a studio. And so here we are. Visions of Mana Studio is shutting down just after releasing a game. Visions of Mana is only a couple days old. We're talking like, dude, I don't even think we're in the double digits of that game like coming out. Are we, Mickey?
I don't think so. It comes did it already come out?
It's out.
Oh shoot, I gotta download it.
Did
that's
you buy
right,
it?
because it was at the no, I haven't bought it yet. Because isn't that one on I thought that one was on Game Pass, maybe not. Oh, okay.
No, I don't.
Oh no,
so.
you told me. No, that's right. You told me it wasn't. Okay, yeah.
Came out Thursday, August 29th. Guys, tomorrow is Thursday. It's been a friggin' week. Developer was closed. So
crazy.
Chinese tech giants Tencent and NetEase are reportedly scaling back their investments in Japanese video game studios due to lack of major successes. One significant outcome is the impending closure of Aoka Studio, the developer of the newly released game Visions of Mana. NetEase began laying off developers from Aoka Studio earlier this spring. Only a few staff members remain to oversee the launch of its final games before the studio shuts down. Tencent had acquired rights to publish the mobile version of Bandai Namco's Blue Protocol. However, Bandai Namco announced it would end support for the game in 2025 and canceled its international release through Amazon Games. And then we start getting into the misaligned goals between companies. There have been discrepancies between Tencent's ambitions and those of Japanese game developers. While Japanese studios prefer smaller scale, lower risk projects, Tencent aims for globally successful franchises, setting higher expectations when funding these developers. NetEase has had previous investments in other Japanese studios, such as Nagashi Studio, led by Yakuza creator Toshihiro Nagashi. Sorry if I'm butchering him, Mickey. Damn. And acquired Grasshopper manufacturer known for the No More Heroes series. And then Tencent has also had a stake in Game Science, which Tencent holds a 5% majority stake in the company, the developer behind the successful Black Myth Wukong. So for Tencent, they want more Black Myth Wukong, and they don't want to go down the road of what we've seen with what NetEase had go down with the developer of Visions of Mana. So Visions of Mana was a miss. Black Myth Wukong was a hit.
How I see, here's another thing I don't understand, right? Is like Visions of Mana and like Star Wars Outlaws, they're saying like, yeah, these games they're not doing well. It's like they've been out for a fucking week.
Oh, I know. We'll get in. There's one.
I mean, give the game a gosh dang chance. For freak's sakes, are we just basing it on the first freaking week it's out? That
could you imagine going on?
Like,
could you imagine going on a date with somebody and meeting them for the first time? Oh hell, you look like shit. Yeah, I'm done. They could have the best personality in the world. Man. They could have the best personality in the world. You're just like, nope, done.
Yeah, this ain't gonna work.
She's probably like, all right, fine, take off. I'm just gonna go back outside to my freaking Maserati. You freaking have fun driving home in your Honda Civic.
That's so crazy, dude.
I know, right? I know. It's like, really? So now the developer has been shut down. Visions of Mana is like one of those games where I'm just like, I have too much already as it is. Like, dude, the market isn't like, dude, like, remember back in the day when like a new game release was like, oh, thank God there's a new game. Now it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I'm gonna do. I feel like there's too much. There's way too much.
Right. There's so much stuff coming out. You almost have to, prioritize, what you want to get
I know,
first or
and I'm sorry. Yeah, prioritize. I'm like Star Wars: Visions of Mana. Well, I've got the Death Star on my damn wall here.
uh-huh.
I've got stormtrooper helmets
Uh-huh.
and all sorts of shit floating around here. I'm going Star Wars.
Yeah. I shoot, I knew that from a mile. I would know that from a mile away because I know you're a Star Wars guy, so
Yeah, I know.
absolutely.
I mean, like, yeah. So, um, it's like that's what I mean. We're starting to see a trend in gaming that is not exactly the greatest trend, where it's like nobody is willing to give the developer the chance to achieve success. Let
Mm-hmm.
the game, like, let the game simmer out there in the public for a little while.
Yeah. Let it cook a little
Like,
bit. Good gracious. Don't eat it
instant
raw.
gratification. I know, instant gratification.
God. Jeez, criminy.
I know, right? Um, and that's where it just like I can't, like, I still can't wrap my mind around that a game that came out 7 days ago um got its studio closed.
Crazy.
So, and that's where now we're getting down to another, like, now we're going from a studio closure to a game getting shut down. And I know some people have probably wanted to be like chat about this one. And this is where, you were like, wait, what happened? So we're getting into our next article, which is from Games Radar again. And let me pull up my notes. I got it all right here. I'm a note taker. So this, what caught my eye on this was the title: Trophy Hunters Rush to Unlock Platinum Trophy in Concord Before Shutdown. I'm like, shutdown? What the fuck? So, this is like, ready for this, Mickey?
Okay.
So like, again, if we get into it, let's see, Concord release date. August 23rd. A couple days before Visions of Mana. This is getting
Crazy.
this is getting crazy, dude. Okay, so getting back into it. PlayStation's new hero shooter from August 23rd, Concord, is going offline September 6th. We lasted like 3 weeks. Sorry, less than 2 weeks after its release. So that, get it in before get it in before tomorrow's last day for Concord. 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. Holy cow. Prompting dedicated players to race for its elusive platinum trophy. Developer Firewalk Studios confirmed that refunds will be issued to those who purchase the game, though the studio remains open to future options to relaunch or modify the game. And like, like, this kind of goes into it, is the trophy that they're trying to get is called the Living Legend. It's long locked behind a challenging grind requiring players to reach level 100 in their free gunner reputation. The game's 5 versus 5 rivalry mode has seen an influx of players intentionally throwing themselves off the map at the start of matches to farm XP in a last-ditch effort to level up quickly. According to PSN profiles, only 12 players have managed to unlock the Platinum Trophy, making it an ultra-rare achievement. Despite the rush, many players are finding it difficult to grind through XP before the game goes offline, with some noting that the process is extremely slow. I know. So basically, player numbers were so bad on Concord that I think like less than 1,000 people were playing it the day it came out. It didn't get any better. We did like me and you at least had a conversation saying we hope it went free to play because when you compare Concord to Overwatch, one is $40, one is free to play. We all know where most people are going to lay their head at on that one. And you know, I'm just saying that it's really tragic that, you know, I really don't know, is this a result of people not being interested? Is this a result of the market being oversaturated? Is this a result of political ideologies not lining up with what people want in a video game right now? Because I've also heard other rumors that people don't like some of the tones and stuff that were at least insinuated with Concord. And I'm just a little shocked, man, that I never thought that I would be living in the video game era where in the same week we see a game that hasn't been out for a week and its studio gets closed. And then, like we said, in the same week, another game, the studio's not getting closed, but they definitely shutting that game down.
Wouldn't you think that if they planned on, because you said they had mentioned that they would possibly, you know, later down the line, you know, think about reopening it or whatever. I mean, wouldn't that cost more money?
Yeah, I know. It would cost money to modify the game. I mean, like,
I don't know. I just don't understand it. It sucks because even though we kind of made little jokes about it being, you know, an Overwatch clone, I still would have liked to try it and check it out and see how it played and stuff like that, you know. And
at least
it's actually it's just sad, man.
It is. And if I can give my 2 cents, and if anybody wants to, like, you know, get Sony's ear, which I know Sony would probably never hear me, but make the game free to play and get the fuck over whatever it is and make it multi-plat. Put it on Xbox, put it everywhere you can, put it like any like if the Nintendo Switch or the Nintendo Switch Pro, if that ever happens, like, dude, put that game everywhere you can, because you have, I think it's like $200 million wrapped up in that game.
Oh,
I know.
And 1 week they're fucking
2 weeks.
Closing it.
2 weeks
or 2 weeks. Yeah, you're right. 2 weeks. But still, that's just so
dude. I'm just saying. So you're not even gonna make a push to try to make the game free to play on the platforms you already have it on. You're not going to try to do anything to market it. You're not going to try to do anything at all to turn this ship around. You're just going to say,
just fucking give it up. Yep. Just giving it up.
Okay. So we got someone in the chat here. Mayfitz, hey, thank you for putting your comment in the chat and checking out the show. Concord has many issues, but what I do not like is when certain groups of people blame diversity and the agenda on Concord's failure. Keep in mind that many successful games are woke. Hey, dude, you know what? There is a lot of successful games out there that definitely, like you say, kind of go around that concept of there being like a diversity thing or an agenda or all this other stuff. And I know, like, I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of stuff that's circulating about Concord, but I really do feel the number one fault for Concord is, I don't know what in the hell over at Sony or even Firewalk Studios for that matter, what behooved them. Like, were they at home eating a sandwich and their kid is playing Overwatch and they're like, I want to rip that game off. And hey, is that free to play? Oh, I not only want to rip that game off, but I want to charge people for it. Like, could you imagine if somebody came out with a Fortnite clone? They wouldn't have a chance in hell.
That's true. That is true.
So I'm just like whoever like proposed this idea and got Sony to give them like $200 million, dude, you are an expert negotiator.
Seriously.
Like I would have, if I would have been in that boardroom, and I'd be like, I feel like you're describing Overwatch. No, like you won't get a yay out of me. No, I'm definitely a nay. Nope. You ain't getting my money. But so like Mickey, and now this is where you want to talk about letting games cook. There has been a game that's going on its 1 year mark since its release, and it's sold enough copies of the game now a year after its release to cover its development and its marketing costs.
Okay.
So it's taken a game a year of being on sale in both Xbox, PlayStation, and PC gaming markets, and it's taken them a year to sell enough copies of the game to recover all the money that they invested in both development and marketing. Do you know what game that is?
On PC, PlayStation, and Xbox?
Yes.
It's been out for a year.
It's gotten raving reviews. Everybody talks great about it. They even had a huge dance routine on last year's video game awards where Jeff Keighley himself was dancing around on stage.
I have a feeling it's something like right there in front of my face, and I can't think of it.
No problem. Hey, Dark Child just came in with a good one, though. Like, look at a game that really got, a lot of dedication, even though it launched as a failure. Fallout 76.
True.
I mean, like, dude, even ESO started on a rocky little slope. Oh, yeah. Diablo Mozart for the freaking clutch. Alan Wake 2. He got it. I was hoping with that one. Yep. Oh man, it's same with even Dark Child said Sea of Thieves. Yeah, like there's been a lot of games that have had rough launches, and the funny part is, Sea of Thieves even charges people for like unless you got Game Pass, you got to pay to play it. But the hilarious part is I own Sea of Thieves digitally, and I have a physical copy of Sea of Thieves. I'll go get it if you don't believe me, but yeah, I got a physical copy of Sea of Thieves. And Mayfit's Cyberpunk 2077. That's what I mean. Like,
yep,
dude, I think it looks better when you stick with it. Otherwise, you just get like a bitter SOB like myself that's just upset that EA clipped the wings on Mass Effect Andromeda as quick as they did, and I never found out what happened to the other races that were supposed to be DLC. I forget which one it was. It was like I forget what the other races that were missing.
I don't care what the sales numbers say in a week. You can't judge or 2 weeks or whatever. I mean, to me, anyways, I just don't think you can judge the capability of a game in a week or two. It's so stupid.
I know.
So dumb, man.
And you're launching right next to a Star Wars game, and even their numbers were dipped a little low. Mm-hmm. Has anybody ever just thought that maybe it's just the frickin' times we live in and the economies that we're all stuck in, and everybody is right. Everybody is being charged way too much and paid way too little.
True.
Ooh, No Man's Sky. That one, Mayfitz, that's a good one right there. No Man's Sky was like an abysmal launch. Like, I feel like PlayStation set that dude up for like Like, oh, but dude, when you go play like No Man's Sky day one versus No Man's Sky today, night and day difference. They're like, dude, holy cow, that's a good one.
I've played that one a little bit. It actually was pretty interesting. That was a
Dude, that when that
pretty
game
cool
first
one.
when that game first came out, it was lifeless. Lifeless. It was literally just go mine. It was literally mine rocks simulator. And over the years, yeah, the developer of that game, he really stuck with it, and he really showed what you can achieve by being dedicated. And that's like, like it's like marriage. You got to grow, be a dedicated spouse. You got to nurture the relationship. You got to be there for the good times. You got to be there for the bad times, but not at any time where it's just like, oh man, shit ain't going well. I'm getting the fuck out. You know what I mean?
Right.
No. So, but yeah, we'll get into it. They just had a new patch. I know, and that's the crappy part is I'm pretty sure looks awesome, some fishing patch. Oh, No Man's Sky just had a patch. Dude, they always patching. Dude, so like No Man's Sky has had some of the most elaborate patches, and we're talking like game-changing patches where you're just like, wow, it's a whole new world. So yeah. So back on to Diablo Mozart really like stole it from you there, Mickey. Alan Wake 2. And we'll get into that. Google poll. It looks really good. I was always wanting to do fishing in No Man's Sky. That I want to check that out. Like, I want to get Mickey to play No Man's Sky with me because I just want us to build some crazy ass freaking base on a planet and just be like building the Galactic Empire Part 2.
I'll play it. I'll play that one.
I think that it still might be in Game Pass. I think I own it.
I think I've got it somewhere on my Xbox or on one of my hard drives. So all I got to do is move it. So
one of my hard drives, he's like over here balling like, yeah, which card is it this week? Yeah.
No, I've only got one internal card. The other ones are all external.
Well, that's why I'm just saying you need to sometimes have like video game roulette where you undo all your hard drives and you're just like, all right, what am I playing? It's going to be all based on what's on the hard drive.
I need to win the lottery just for gaming shit.
I know, right? All right. So here we are. Alan Wake 2 struggles despite critical success. Despite being hailed as one of the most innovative and compelling games of its generation, Alan Wake 2 has struggled with sales since its release, only recently breaking even. Remedy Entertainment's financial report revealed while the game has now covered its development and marketing costs, it is yet to generate profits. Fans and analysts attribute this partially to the game's exclusivity deal with Epic Games Store, which limited its reach among PC players. Some suggest that Remedy's lack of physical copies and exclusivity deals have hindered the game's sales. Even though Epic Games funding made the development smoother, Remedy has been in a similar situation before, notably with Control, but managed to recover over time. I enjoyed Control. The upcoming Alan Wake TV show and film collaborations with Annapurna, along with the planned Control 2 and Max Payne remakes, offer potential avenues for Remedy to recover and potentially drive sales of Alan Wake 2. Many fans believe releasing physical copies and bringing the game to Steam could significantly boost sales, especially for PC users. So, and that's where there was one comment made that I thought it was interesting. Like, this is how they described it as part of the article, and I really want to find it. It was like a statement, like where somebody made a comment on Reddit saying this right here. That being said, gamers need to get their heads out of their asses and start supporting this developer. They are one of the best, most original AAA developers in the industry. It is sad when low effort, phoned in Marvel games sell 12 million in a few months. An original masterpiece like Alan Wake 2 struggles to break even. You there, Mickey, or am I chatting with
It's
myself?
just
Okay.
nope. Yeah, I'm here. I mean, it's different strokes for different folks. So I think stuff like that. I mean,
I know, but
there's
dude,
just
if
a lot of people that don't like that style game.
well,
So it's it might be a great game and gotten massive great ratings and stuff. It depends on the people who wants to play it and stuff. I mean
I've played a
that's
lot.
what it comes down to.
I've played a lot of Remedy's games. I enjoyed Quantum Break. I enjoyed Alan Wake Remastered. I enjoyed Control. I still need to play Alan Wake 2. That's in my backlog. I was actually holding on to it for the Halloween season. Um I've never seen a a a Remedy game go blockbuster status. I know like a lot of Remedy stuff has large huge cult followings where like I mean there's a lot of talent there. They have a very unique approach to storytelling. I mean Remedy deserves all the pedigree that they have, but I just do feel that you know is by chance Remedy put on too high of a pedestal, or were we misled into thinking something different? Because like I mean between like the way it was talked about at the Game Awards, the shows that it had at the Game Awards, the critical acclaim that it got from all the reviews that it got, like you said, different strokes for different folks. Were we kind of led into this idea that the game was more successful than it really was?
I have no idea because I've heard of Alan Wake. I've never played it, so I don't even know what it's about. Um, so I mean, I honestly I couldn't tell you because I haven't really heard much about it. No, I mean, I've heard of it, but just I've never like really kept up with it. So, um, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, clearly it's got like you said the cult following, so it's obviously a popular game in some way. But uh, I mean, I don't know how they put it out there, how they marketed it or whatever or whatnot. So I have no idea whatsoever.
Well, real quick, Google Poe put No Man's Sky with Bethesda. Please combine them to make a super sci-fi game. That'd be interesting. I'd play it. Dark Child, don't you miss games on cartridge or disc that were completed on day one? Yeah, but I'm gonna be up front. I haven't had a huge issue like Star Wars Outlaws, but I know they had to like we talked last week, they had to patch PlayStation's version of the game or something like that. But um, I do believe that yeah, it would be great to go back to simpler times, but I think the demand for high frame rates and ray tracing and all this other immersive stuff has made it to where some games wouldn't even fit on a disc. So I'm just like,
That's true.
is the fact that we're at where we're at now a combination of the evolution of the gaming industry and making these great big massive games that like having on a disc would slow it down, and then also like we could say it's also been used as a crutch by developers and publishers alike, to rush a game out and using the patching system to fix it. But I just feel like it's like one of those things. The genie's already out of the bottle, so you can't really put it back in.
Hmm.
Google Poe. I do miss being able to complete games quickly, but I remember playing a game like Auto Duel from old EA. I finished that over a weekend as a kid, and I felt kind of depressed that the game was over. I know, like games were a little bit smaller back then. Like, I mean, I go back and I sometimes play some of the older games, and when you realize you're like, holy cow, you could grind through this game pretty damn quick.
They were a lot a bit smaller.
Right. Like I'm still playing Bounty Hunter, and I'm like, I was grinding through that pretty damn quick, and I was like, yeah, I remember this was on GameCube. And if anybody remembers GameCube, like the discs were like that freaking big. Like, I mean, they were like tiny. You could literally lose the game disc taking it out of the case.
Those little square.
No, they were little. They were mini discs. They were round little.
Oh, were they
discs?
Gosh,
Oh no,
it's been a while.
No,
I get them confused.
Not Game Boy. Like the Game Boy games, those were the small square ones. The cartridges. No, the the little. No, the GameCube little mini discs.
Gosh dang, it's been so freaking long.
Mari, I was watching Warhammer 40K Space Marines 2 gameplay, and it looks incredible. It's like Helldivers 2, but on another level. Dude, that's what I mean. I'm over here trying to play Star Wars Outlaws. I just bought freaking Age of Mythology, and then I gotta like go at my wife and be like, hey, so Warhammer 40K is coming out in like a couple days. And I know Stanley is coming out with some new cups in a couple days. I'm thinking we hit a compromise. What do you say, huh?
I told my wife, I said, you know, October's going to be an expensive month.
Jesus, dude. I know. Like, dude, the last few months of the year, it's just going to be like, Xbox is like, so did you want to open up a line of credit now or later?
Yeah, no kidding.
So Diablo Mozart, the first Alan Wake was like being trapped in a Stephen King novel. Great story. No, I actually felt like it was a Stephen King novel. That was a very great comparison. Like, no, I thought the same thing. Google Poe. So many games. I'm still finishing up Outlaws. We feel your pain. Oh, dude, I'm having a lot of fun with Outlaws. I've already got all 3 of the gangs in like top excellent. I've gotten the uniforms that they give you because the uniforms give you like special perks for unlocking them. I'm having a lot of fun with Outlaws. So, and yeah, Outlaws has been playing perfectly for me too. Google Poe on Series X. Me and Mickey talked about it last week that I guess it released when they released it on PlayStation 5. Apparently the game was an older version and they had forgot to put in the patch for the newer version. And they had to go and tell PlayStation players to download the patch and basically start their game over. Start the game over because they wouldn't be able to complete the game. And they had to give them like some kind of currency that apparently is going to be used in the game later on, I guess. And finally, Google Poe. Yeah, Alan Wake is totally like Stephen King book, and I might buy Space Marine 2. It looks very good. I mean, like, dude, I'm ready. I mean, I've heard like the developers even had to like, because of the size of the Space Marines, because they're bigger than an average human, they had to like really work pretty hard on just the running animations and the movement animations of the Space Marines to make them look right. Because I mean, Space Marines, I guess, are like in that world of Warhammer 40K, Space Marines are pretty big individuals. They're like giants. So. But hey, look at that, Mickey. We made it through a grip of freaking like articles. We had a great conversation. I mean, like, I felt like we really hit a good outline and a good narrative on our conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
I agree.
Yeah, let's close out Alan Wake there and like restore some sanity in my screen. So, all right, man. Well, it was definitely a great conversation. Say goodnight to the folks. Tell everybody where they can find you at if they're interested.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight and for hanging out and just, conversating with us. We love it when you guys, post in the chat, so continue to do so. I am psychosemantic on Xbox. I don't really mess around on all the other on like the social sites. So if you ever want to come hang out with us, we're usually in a party. So come chat, come play, come hang, whatever you want.
Yeah, definitely. We don't lock our parties, at least not yet. Anyways, nobody's come in to ever cause us to want to. And thank you to Faded Blaze, James Thomas, Dwayne Davis, Dark Child, Adidas 20, Google Poe, Dark Child. I know Mayfits, Diablo Mozart, Mari, and anybody else that I may have missed. Thank you everybody for tuning in tonight, joining the chat, listening to our banter, and just kind of like reading off the articles for the week and just kind of having our discussion. Please join us again next week for just another roundtable discussion. Thank you, Moffats. I thought it was a great show. I really appreciate you telling us it was a great show.
Yes, thank
and
you.
we look forward to putting on another great show for you guys next week, and I hope to see you there. So till then, everybody, you have yourselves a good night and just play games and have fun.
Have a good night, guys.
Yep. Good night, everybody.